Welcome back, Algebra 2. In this video, we'll be going over your solution for example 1D. So let's go ahead and get started. I've already identified my A, B, and C for this quadratic equation. I didn't need to move anything around because it's already set equal to 0. So I can just go ahead and substitute the values into my quadratic formula. So I get x squared equals negative, and I'm going to write -9 plus or minus the square root of -9 squared minus 4 times a, which is 1, times c, which is 27, all over 2 times 1. Okay, let's start simplifying. So we get x equals, let's see, negative times a negative. I'm just going to write positive 9 because that's all it is, plus or minus the square root of 81, because -9 times -9 is positive 81, minus 4 times 1 times 27 is going to be 108, all over 2. Okay, let's simplify the stuff underneath the radical. So I have x equals 9 plus or minus 81 minus 108 is -27, all over 2. Okay, so now the next thing I want to do is break down that square root, and we can use I according to our instructions. So I'm just going to rewrite what I have up here. Okay, and the first thing I'm going to do is write it as -1 times the square root of 27 all over 2. Okay, I like to have my list of perfect squared numbers off on the side here. So I have 4, 9, 16, 25. I don't really need to go any further, but when I'm working from the bottom and going up, the only number that divides 27 nicely is going to be 9. So I can rewrite 27 as 9 times 3. So I'm going to replace that in my equation. So I have x equals 9 plus or minus square root of -1. And instead of writing the square root of 27, I'm writing that, or I'm expressing it as the square root of 9 times the square root of 3 all over 2. Okay, let's go ahead and do some substitutions here. So I have x equals 9 plus or minus, instead of writing the square root of 1, I can replace that with the letter I because that's what that value stands for. Square root of 9 is going to be 3, and the square root of 3 cannot be simplified anymore, so it's going to stay underneath the radical all over 2. So let's clean this up a little bit. And I have x equals 9 plus or minus this plus or minus 3i times the square root of 3 all over 2. And so let's go ahead and break that apart. So one of my solutions is going to be 9 over 2 plus 3 over 2 times I times the square root of 3. And my other solution is going to be 9 halves minus 3 halves times I times the square root of 3. So these are my two solutions I have solved for x. And we can go ahead and try the last two problems.